Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is the first of my attempt at doing the before and after videos that I've sort of mentioned on and off. It's not going to work the way I wanted it to. There's a good reason for that. The software I use for my videos, anyone that's interested, is called Power Director, and I've got version 14. Version 15's out, but there's just no little difference, and it doesn't warrant paying for the upgrade, quite honestly. So that's what I use. Now, my original idea was to go and get the videos from my May updates and take a still shot from those videos of the plant as it was then, and then film the plant as it is now, effectively showing a year's worth of growth. Well, that failed miserably. Basically, the original Power Director videos have been deleted. There's only so much space on a computer, and boy do these things take up some space. And when I started archiving was after that point, so they've been deleted. However, the YouTube videos are still available, but they're a video. So what I've come up with, which you'll see shortly, is my Power Director software has a capture process for both sound and video. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is play back the original May update of a plant, get to a suitable point where I can pause it on YouTube. So I'll just be playing a YouTube video like like you watch, or I watch, we watch, and I'll pause it at a suitable point and then flick that up to full screen so that it fills the screen. Then go back into my Power Director window, switch on capture, which puts a banner round the other screen, the one that's showing the paused YouTube video. And that banner, all round the edge, has got handles. So I can pull those handles in to get rid of the top bit, the bottom bit, and things like that. And effectively, then I use a function key and start recording, count to 5 or count to 10. I haven't made my mind up yet because I haven't done that bit. But and then end recording, and that effectively creates a new video of a paused YouTube screen. You staying with this? Even interested? Anyway, so I've then got effectively a still of what the plant looked like in May. Then I can go back into my editing software and insert that video in the one I'm filming now, if you see what I mean. If not, it doesn't matter that much. All you've got to do is look at the results. But anyway, I'm starting with this one. So ready, steady, go, as they say. And in good preparatory form, I've obviously looked up the name of this one before I started, haven't I? Not. So let's go and get it. What a dork. Okay, that's friedericksianum. All but a pronunciation related problem. So if we look at this one, I would say this one has grown incredibly well this year. These are the new canes. They are bordering on finishing for the year, which is just at the right time of year. That one's finished. Yeah, that is a terminal leaf. You have to get your head around that if you're going to grow these types of dendrobiums. You need to know when a cane has finished growing. That one may do another leaf. That might be its terminal leaf, but because it hasn't pushed out like that one yet, I don't know. This cane up here, that may well be its last leaf as well. This cane here with the bugs on, I'm in the middle of watering at the moment. I haven't got round to the bug killing. Just on that point, on bugs, this is the time of year where you can wipe them out. Because effectively I've got my extractor fans and inlet fans aren't on. They're not necessary, it doesn't get warm enough. So effectively, I can't see any more bugs getting in, so those I've got, I kill. And in theory, apart from the odd egg that hatches out, I'm done with the flipping things for the year. Yippee! They have been a bugbear this year. So anyway, that's that one, the before and after. And as it's right next to it, I just as well do that one as well. That's a Kingianum hybrid, no name. It's just finished blooming. Previous video in the last week or so. That may be a new cane, but this one is prone to kikis. It just does that. You can see one coming here. Yeah, that's a kiki. That's obviously not a spike. That, however, is a spike up the back there. I can tell the difference on this one. I've had it a while. Now, the canes that have grown this year are absolutely colossal in comparison to what this looked like at the start of the year. You know, when you were looking at something like that was an old cane. This was an old cane. Yeah? So it was quite a compact plant at the start of this year, and now, if I can get back far enough, it's a monster. But I'm pleased with it. It's done really well. But unfortunately, as you can see here, it's still pushing out new canes. Now, being of the Kingianum type, if this doesn't get a rest at some point and a drop in temperature, it may still bloom, but it won't bloom well. So that's my decision to make at a point later in the season, but not now. At the moment, it's actively growing, it's got new canes pushing out, so it'll get watered. Okay, so that's that. Those two done together and introducing the principle of what I'm going to do. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, this is one of my weaker dendrobiums. You'll see that from what it looked like, you know, in the bit that shows how it looked like in May. But effectively in May it had a little new growth that has now extended to that. That's not a strong new growth for a year's worth of growth. It's not very good. But I still maintain if you've got an alba form or a semi-alba form in most genera of orchids, you've got a less vigorous plant. Now I'm only saying that from my own personal experience, because that I can, you know, I have several versions that I could sort of show and say they're just not as vigorous as the normal form. It's just an observation really, I suppose. But yeah, I mean that one's not doing very well. The cane has finished growing, so it's ready to go into its rest. So this is the last soak it's actually going to get. That now goes on a special little list from now till the point when I'm going to rest them properly, where it's probably only going to get a dribble. And that's just accomplished by, you know, using a sprayer just around the surface roots and not drowning the whole pot. It's as simple as that. It's a simple adjustment, and obviously that goes down to 0 feed now. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, this one is Dendrobium Nestor, or Nestor, depending on your pronunciation, but it's a anosmum hybrid basically, so semi-deciduous cane type dendrobium. And obviously looking at this, capable of growing one hell of a long cane in a single season. If we look back at the other shot that I'll pop up, we can see what the new cane looked like. And we can now see where we've actually progressed in a season. I've just measured that new cane and it is over 1 metre long. So if you look at the older canes there, they're sort of between 1/2 and 2/3 of the length of the latest cane. So I would say that one has grown incredibly well this season. So whatever I've done this year, I will continue to do, because it's working. There's no point in changing it if it's not broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But what I will have to do is find a better place to keep it that doesn't change its environment, because at the moment the bottom of that cane is actually starting to rest against things, and I prefer it to hang free. But it's still growing. It's still actively growing, so it's not going to get rested yet. But it will need a rest to induce the blooms, hopefully the whole length of that new cane. Okay, that's that one. Okay, so looking at this one, This is a cross. You can see the tag there. It's called Formidable. I believe it's supposed to be pronounced the French way, but it's Formosum crossed with Fundibulum. Those two to me are not that compatible, but anyway, that's the cross I've got. Looking at what I've got this year, new cane, yeah, a fraction larger than my largest old cane, and then that's a new cane, that's a new cane, that's a new cane, and so is that. So I've got 5 strong new canes on here. They are still actively growing, yeah, that's a growing cane. That's not open to debate. That's what a growing cane looks like. That's an actively growing cane, but it looks like it may be slowing down. And then when we come around this side of the plant, we get to the older canes. That's an old cane round there. It's becoming deciduous, but it hasn't quite made it yet. This large cane coming up through here, as you can see, that's starting to lose its leaves. That's one of the older canes, as is this one here. Now this is the sort of thing that can throw people into a panic if they're not quite sure what they've got hold of and what they're supposed to be doing. It comes into the, you know, sticking it on Facebook and going, why are all my leaves going yellow and dropping off? Well, it's called autumn. That's what they do. But you need to know you've got the type of dendrobium that does that. And if it's got some bare canes on it, it's a pretty good guess. Yeah? Okay, so that one's grown well. So say this is a strange plant because when it actually blooms it looks like a cattleya, but it is a dendrobium, I can assure you. Okay, so that one's grown well, and this one is a strange dendrobium because it blooms very much like a phalaenopsis type. It pushes its blooms out from the top of the cane, but for me it's only ever had 2 blooms per cane. They are huge. So, and as I said, they're reminiscent of a cattleya. They're very attractive flowers and they're very large. So I keep this one, and that looks like that's going to be a spike. Yeah, if it doesn't blast. So I may get some blooms on that one soon. This one has never been rested, and it's on the question mark list because I'm still not absolutely sure. How do I become absolutely sure? I go and look up the background to its 2 parents. This is what you've got to do if you want to sort of, you know, get into a specific orchid and really sort of understand what it's all about. So I've got to look up what type of orchid these 2 are, find out where they come from. Are they from deciduous forests? If they are, the leaves are falling off this time of year. If it's from the northern hemisphere, if it's from Australia, the leaves are just growing. Okay, so I've got to do some homework before I make my final decision. But this is the sort of thing I enjoy doing, looking stuff up, getting in on the internet, playing around, gaining knowledge all the time. If I could find somebody who had this cross who's been growing it for 5 years, I could make life easy and just ask them. But I can't do that. I don't know anybody that's got that cross. It's an unusual one, actually. So anyway, for this first attempt at the before and after, I'm just going to leave it at that. I know they were all dendrobiums. That's just because I'm in the middle of watering and that's where I've got to. The next one I do, I'll pick on a different genera perhaps. I might mix and match and just do a few of each. But I don't want each video to be, you know, 30-35 minutes. It's just too much in one go. Plus, I've got quite a lot of editing to do to each one. As I've explained, it's a bit fiddly, but it's the only way I've got that I can actually do what I want to do. And originally, I'll say again, those May updates were for me so that I could do this, whether I actually videoed it or not. I wanted to benchmark all the plants I had as we got going in the growing season, and then have a look at as we come towards the end of the growing season and see how well they've done. And if ones haven't done very well, I've got the winter to try and find out why. Now that to me is what the game's all about, not just chucking water on them and hoping they bloom. I like to know about my plants. Unfortunately, there's a hell of a lot of them. Now, some of them I don't really need to know much about. It's a Cattleya hybrid. Well, they all get treated the same as far as I'm concerned. That could be wrong. Yeah? Don't say that's right. That's just what I do. In amongst those, if you look at Cattleya species, they don't all grow in the same climates and the same temperatures. Some of them actually like cooler temperatures and they don't like to be roasted. You know, they'll actually burn their leaves. That's not what they're all about. I've got one. I'll just quickly show it, and if I've got a before bit I can stick that in as well. This is my Maxima. Yeah? Cattleya Maxima. That was a good guess. Yeah? Root-wise, that's not doing brilliantly. That got the old rain mix on it and slowed the roots down for this year. They'll push on next year. I'm not particularly worried about that one. It's got new growth on it at the moment. It's also got the previous growth has a sheath. Can't see any shadows in there at the moment, so no sign of buds yet, but cross your fingers, as they say. Yeah, so, I mean, as a plant, it's not doing bad. The leaves aren't too bad. It has viable roots if they don't look pretty. But there are two types of Maxima. There's a lowland type and a highland type. It's all in the name, you know. I would suggest that the lowland type actually stands higher temperatures. In fact, needs higher temperatures. However, the highland type, just by definition, probably gets and maybe needs lower temperatures. So for me, keeping this one up in the roof, the hottest part, might not be the best place for it. But I will adjust accordingly. It's been growing okay, so at the moment, I mean, the higher temperatures have gone now for the year. I'm lucky to get 23 in here nowadays, and most days it stays down around 20, which might be far more suitable for this little one. So it might push on a bit now, given the shorter day lengths. We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, I'll do some more of these. They might take a while to come up. They're not going to be one a day or anything like that. I do have other things to do, you know, not just orchids. But anyway, this is the first one. Chuck your comments in, you know, any suggestions for making them better, any changes you think might improve the idea, whether you like the idea, dislike it, all that sort of stuff. That's what YouTube's all about, saying what you think. So that's the first one done. Okay, thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed the principle, if not the methodology, but that's what I've got. I can't do it any other way, I'm afraid. Thanks for dropping by. See you again next time.